Elena had a dream. It was a small dream, but it was very important to her. She wanted to speak English. Not perfect English. Not fast English. Just simple, clear English. She wanted to understand people and talk to them. She wanted to ask questions, answer them, and be part of conversations. She wanted to feel confident when she spoke. For many years, Elena studied English at home. She read books and watched videos. She learned many words. But when she tried to speak, she felt afraid. She worried that people would laugh. She was afraid of making mistakes. So she stayed quiet. One day, Elena got a phone call from her best friend, Sarah. Sarah moved to the United States 2 years ago. They talked on the phone often, but always in their first language. This time, Sarah had exciting news. Elena, she said, I want you to visit me. Come to the US. I'll show you around, and you can practice your English here. Elena was surprised. Really? She asked. Yes, Sarah said. It will be fun. And don't worry, I'll help you. We'll practice together. Elena smiled. She felt nervous, but also excited. This was her chance to use English in real life. She said yes. From that day, Elena started preparing. Every morning, she woke up early and made tea. Then she sat at her desk and watched English videos. But she didn't just listen. She spoke with them. This technique is called shadowing. It means you listen to someone speak English, and you try to say the same words at the same time. You try to copy the way they speak, their sounds, their rhythm, their speed. Elena liked shadowing. At first, it was difficult. Her mouth moved slowly. Some words were hard to say, but every day it got easier. She repeated short sentences again and again. She practiced with greetings, questions, shopping phrases, and simple stories. She whispered to herself while washing dishes. She spoke to the mirror in the evening. Slowly, her confidence grew. After a few weeks, it was time to travel. Elena packed her bag, hugged her family, and got on a plane. She felt a little scared, but she remembered her practice. On the plane, she watched an English movie with subtitles. She whispered the lines. She smiled. She was learning. When she arrived in the United States, everything felt big and new. The signs were in English. People spoke quickly. The air felt different. Elena took a deep breath. At the airport, she had to ask for help. She wanted to find the taxi line. She walked to an airport worker and said, "Excuse me, where's the taxi line?" The woman smiled. "It's just over there," she said. Elena smiled back. She did it. Her first English sentence in the US. And it worked. Sarah was waiting for her outside. They hugged tightly. "I'm so happy you're here," Sarah said. "Me too," Elena answered. On the way home, they talked and laughed. Sometimes, Elena didn't understand everything, but she asked questions, and Sarah explained. It was a good feeling. Elena felt brave. For the next few days, Elena continued her practice. In the morning, she watched short videos and repeated the words. In the afternoon, she and Sarah walked around the neighborhood. Elena looked at signs and tried to say them out loud. At night, she read short English stories to Sarah. Every word she spoke made her stronger. One morning, Sarah had an idea. "Let's go shopping today," she said. "Shopping?" Elena asked. "Yes, I want to buy you a gift." Elena was surprised. "Really?" "Yes, a real gift. You need something nice from America." Elena laughed. Okay, but I will practice English. Of course, Sarah said. That's the plan. Elena felt excited. This was a real chance to use her English in a store. She remembered the phrases she practiced. Can I try this on? Do you have this in a different size? How much does this cost? She repeated them in her head. She whispered to them on the way to the mall. She wanted to be ready. Sarah drove them to a big shopping center. Elena looked around. So many people, so many stores, so many lights. They entered a clothing store. Elena's eyes grew wide. There were dresses, shirts, pants, and shoes in every color. It was beautiful. Sarah smiled. Pick anything you like, she said. Anything? Elena asked. Yes, it's my gift to you. Elena felt happy. She walked slowly through the store, looking at the clothes. She touched the fabric. She read the signs. She thought about what to say. Her heart beat faster. This was it. This was her first real conversation in English with a salesperson. She was ready, but nervous. She took a deep breath and thought about her mother's words. Mistakes are okay. They help you grow. Speak with your heart. Elena smiled and nodded to herself. She was not perfect, but she was ready to try. She turned to Sarah and said, Let's do this. That small sentence, full of hope, marked the beginning of something big. Elena was not just shopping. She was starting a new chapter, one full of learning, laughter, and courage. This was her first step, and she was proud of it. Elena walked slowly through the store. Her eyes moved from one dress to another. There were so many colors: red, blue, green, black. Some dresses were long, some were short, some had flowers, some had shiny, teeny buttons. Everything looked new and exciting. Sarah stood next to her, smiling. Take your time, she said. Pick anything you like. Elena felt happy but nervous. She had practiced for this moment. She remembered the phrases she learned. She said them in her head. Can I try this on? Do you have this in a different size? How much is this? She took a deep breath and looked around again. Then a salesperson walked toward them. She had a friendly smile. Hello, the salesperson said. Can I help you? Elena's heart started to beat faster. This was her first real conversation in English in a store. But she didn't want to be afraid. She wanted to speak. She wanted to try. Yes, Elena said with a small smile. I need a new dress. Great, the salesperson said. What color do you like? Elena thought for a second. Red, she said. I like red. Good choice, the salesperson said. What size do you wear? Medium, Elena answered quickly. Perfect, the salesperson said and walked away to find a red dress. Sarah looked at Elena and gave her a thumbs up. You're doing great, she whispered. Elena smiled. She felt proud. She had answered all the questions. Her English was working. She was really speaking with someone. It felt good. The salesperson returned with a red dress. It was beautiful. Elena looked at it with wide eyes. She wanted to try it on, but she needed to ask. She remembered the sentence from her practice. She tried to say it, but something went wrong. Can I taste this on? She asked. There was silence. The salesperson looked surprised. Sarah stared at her. Then, suddenly, both of them started to laugh. Elena did not understand. She looked at Sarah, confused. What? What happened? Sarah laughed harder. You said, can I taste this on? Elena blinked. No. Did I? Yes, Sarah said. A taste. You asked if you could taste the dress. Now Elena understood. She had made a mistake. A funny one. She felt her face turn red. She wanted to hide. But the salesperson was still laughing in a kind way. I don't think it's very tasty, the salesperson jokes. Elena covered her face with her hands. She laughed a little, but she also felt embarrassed. I didn't mean that, she said. I mean, can I try this on? Of course, the salesperson said, still smiling. You can try it on. Elena looked at Sarah. Sarah was still laughing. I can't believe I said that, Elena said. Sarah put a hand on her shoulder. This is perfect, she said. Elena looked at her, confused again. Perfect? How is this perfect? Sarah smiled. Because now you will never forget how to say it the right way. Elena thought for a second. Maybe Sarah was right. She had made a mistake, yes, but it was a mistake that made her laugh. It made everyone laugh. And now she would always remember it. She walked to the fitting room with the dress in her hands. She whispered to herself, smiling, try, 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 not taste. Inside the fitting room, she looked at herself in the mirror. Her cheeks were still red, but she was smiling now. The dress looked nice. She felt a little better. When she came out, Sarah clapped her hands. You look great, she said. Elena smiled. Thank you. The salesperson nodded. Good choice. Elena felt more relaxed. The mistake was still in her mind, but it didn't hurt anymore. It became something funny, something real. She walked to the counter to pay. Card, please, she said when the salesperson asked. The salesperson took her card, then looked up and said with a big smile, Are you sure you don't want to taste another dress? Elena laughed out loud. No, thank you, she said. I don't eat clothes. Everyone laughed again. But this time, Elena laughed too. She was not embarrassed anymore. She was proud. As they walked out of the store, Sarah looked at her. You were amazing, she said. I made a mistake, Elena replied. Yes, Sarah said, and that mistake helped you learn. That's how we grow. Elena nodded. I guess this was not so bad. It was perfect, Sarah said again. Elena smiled. She believed her this time. Later that night, Elena sat in her room and wrote the sentence again and again. Can I try this on? She laughed as she remembered the mistake. She said both versions out loud. Can I taste this on? Can I try this on? Then she smiled. She would never forget it. Elena had made a mistake. But that mistake didn't stop her. It made her better. It gave her a story. It gave her a reason to remember. And now, she was even more ready to keep learning and speaking. She closed her notebook, took a deep breath, and said one more time, I can do this. Elena stood in the fitting room. She looked at herself in the mirror. The red dress fit her well. It was simple but beautiful. She turned left and right. She smiled. Then she said quietly to herself, Can I try this on? She laughed. This time, she said it right. Her cheeks were still a little red from the mistake she made earlier, but now she was smiling. She was not embarrassed anymore. She was proud. She had made a mistake, yes, but she learned something. She laughed, and she didn't give up. She felt stronger than before. Elena opened the door and stepped out. Sarah was waiting. When she saw Elena in the dress, her face lit up. Wow, Sarah said. You look amazing! Elena smiled. Thank you. The salesperson walked over and nodded. Very nice. Good choice. Elena felt a warm feeling in her chest. She had come so far. Just yesterday, she was nervous about speaking English in public. But now, she was speaking. She was learning. She was doing it. They walked together to the counter. Elena held the dress in her hands. She looked at the price tag. It was not too expensive. She was happy with her choice. The salesperson asked, "Will you pay with cash or card?" Elena answered with confidence, "Card, please." The salesperson took the card and began to type. Then she looked at Elena with a big smile and said, "Are you sure you don't want to taste another dress?" Elena laughed out loud. "I don't eat clothes." Sarah laughed too. "She learns fast." The salesperson laughed again. "Just checking." Elena took her bag and her receipt. "Thank you very much," she said. Her voice was clear and strong. As they left the store, Sarah turned to her. "That was perfect," she said. Elena laughed. "It was funny, and now I'll never forget the word try." Sarah smiled. "See? Every mistake helps us learn something." Elena nodded. "Yes, I think I believe that now." They walked through the mall, talking and laughing. Elena felt different. She felt more comfortable with English. Not perfect, but better. She knew more than before, and she knew that mistakes were part of learning. That evening, Elena stood in front of the mirror in her room. She wore the new red dress. She looked at herself and smiled. Then she began to practice speaking. She said the sentences she used at the store. "Can I try this on?" "How much does this cost?" "I'll pay with card." "Do you have this in a different size?" She said each one slowly and clearly. She repeated them again and again. She watched her mouth move. She listened to her voice. She didn't feel shy. She didn't feel afraid. She felt confident. Then she added a new exercise. She called it the confidence mirror. She looked into her own eyes and said short, powerful sentences. "I am learning. I am not afraid. I speak with courage. I make mistakes, and that's okay. I am getting better." She smiled. These words helped her feel strong. She was not just learning English. She was learning to believe in herself. She picked up her notebook and wrote down all the new words she learned that day. Salesperson, fitting room, price tag, on sale, cashier, receipt. She used each word in a short sentence. "The salesperson helped me. I went to the fitting room. The price tag was $20. The shoes were on sale. I paid the cashier with my card. I got a receipt after paying." She read them out loud. She read slowly, carefully. She wanted to remember every word. Then she picked her favorite phrases and repeated them again. "Pick anything you like." "Good choice." "This is never going away." She remembered when Sarah said that. "This is never going away." Sarah was right. That funny moment in the store would stay in her memory forever. And that was a good thing. Before going to bed, Elena wrote a short note to herself in her notebook. It was in English. "Today I made a mistake. I said taste instead of try. But I didn't stop. I didn't give up. I laughed. I learned. I bought a dress. I spoke English. I feel strong. I will keep going." She closed the notebook and smiled. She was proud of her day. The next morning, she woke up feeling happy. She made her tea and sat by the window. She turned on her favorite English video and listened. Then she began shadowing again. She repeated the sentences out loud, just like before. But now, her voice was stronger. Her words were clearer. She was no longer afraid of speaking. She was ready to try more. She remembered something she once heard in a video. Every time you speak, even with mistakes, you grow. That was true. She could feel it. Now it was your turn to. If you are learning English, remember Elena's story. Don't be afraid to speak. Don't worry about mistakes. Say your words out loud. Practice every day. Use your mirror. Shadow your favorite videos. Laugh when you get it wrong. Celebrate when you get it right. Speak your English. Speak your heart. You are doing better than you think. And one day, just like Elena, you will look in the mirror and say, I can do this. And you'll know it's true. Elena's story is a story of courage. At the beginning, she was like many English learners, quiet, unsure, and afraid to speak. She knew some words. She studied alone, but she didn't feel ready to use English in real life. She was afraid to make mistakes. But everything changed when she took a chance. She decided to visit her friend Sarah in the United States. She said yes to something new. She said yes to learning, even if it was scary. And that decision opened a new chapter in her life. Elena didn't become fluent overnight. She practiced. Every morning, she watched videos, repeated phrases, and whispered English to herself. She used a simple method called shadowing, listening and speaking at the same time. Day by day, her voice became stronger. Then came her big moment, shopping in an American mall. She was nervous, but she spoke. She made a mistake and said, "Can I taste this on?" Everyone laughed, including her. But something amazing happened. That small, funny mistake became the best lesson of all. Elena didn't feel broken. She felt brave. She learned the right way to say it and never forgot it again. By the end of her trip, Elena could speak with confidence. She laughed more. She spoke more. She learned not just grammar or vocabulary, but something deeper, the power of trying. So, what is the lesson from Elena's story? Mistakes are not the end. They are part of learning. If you wait until you're perfect, you may never speak. But if you speak now, even with small errors, you will grow. You will learn. You will remember better. You will feel stronger. In life, just like in language, we get better by doing, by trying, by failing, by trying again. Elena's journey shows us that confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after we act, after we speak, after we survive a mistake and smile again. You can take this lesson and apply it to your own life. Maybe you're learning English. Maybe you're trying something else new. Whatever it is, don't wait for perfection. Start now. Be like Elena. Be brave. Make your small mistake. Learn from it and keep going. If you have made it to the end of this story, congratulations. That means you have just practiced your listening and reading skills in English for several minutes. You understood real dialogue, real emotions, and real vocabulary. You followed Elena's experience and learned through her journey. That is a big achievement. Now, let's have a little fun with a quick question. Question time. What mistake did Elena make in the store? A. She said, "Can I taste this on?" instead of, "Can I try this on?" B. She said, Can I try this on? Instead of, can I taste this on? Write your answer in the comments below by typing A or B. Let's see how many of you were really listening to the story. Also, if you enjoyed this story and learned something new, please subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us create more fun, useful, and emotional content like this. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a new story or lesson. And if you believe in what we're doing and want to help, please consider donating to the channel. In the beginning, it's very hard to make high-quality videos and lessons, and your support can truly make a difference. Thank you for being part of this story. And remember, you are doing great. Keep speaking, keep learning, keep going.